لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين خالق السماوات والأرض إلها واحدا أحدا صمدا لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين رحمة للعالمين طه وياسين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين ورحمة الله على محبيهم ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقاتليهم وغاصب حقوق حقهم ومنكر فضائلهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتبارك في كتابه الحكيم وفرقانه المجيد وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. Respected sisters and brothers, my youngsters, my elders, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullah. Developing the self, building the character, making ourselves better, closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been the subject that we have tried to discuss over the nights of this holy month. These holy nights, the holy days, we've made an effort to inshallah try and make ourselves closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reach better, closer in our actions, our deeds, in our faith, in our iman to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We get closer to Allah ta'ala by following those who have been designated by Allah ta'ala to guide us. We make ourselves closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by following the leaders, the anbiya, the mursaleen, the awliya, the awsiya, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has appointed to get us closer to Him. So that has been the topic and the conversation that we have engaged in. And in the last couple of nights we have talked about the current hujjat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the current wali of Allah ta'ala on this earth. Because one of the fundamental parts of the belief of the school of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the followers of Ahlul Bayt, is that we believe that from the very beginning of human creation till the end of time, till the end of the time that is known as humanity's end, there must always be a representative of Allah, a khalifa of Allah, a hujjat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth. The trend started with Hazrat Adam. He was not only the first prophet and the first person created by Allah, but Allah says, Inni ja'ilun fil arda khalifa. He was my first khalifa on this earth. He is my khalifa. There was a representative of Allah on the earth before there was any other human being on this earth. And the Quran says, وَلَا تَجِدُ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا. The policy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not change. If there was a hujjat of Allah or a khalifa of Allah at the beginning of human history, then right up until the end of human history, there must be a khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And a very beautiful discussion or argument was given by the fifth holy Imam of the Ahlul Bayt when somebody had approached him. And the Imam was replying that when they are arguing with you, when the other Muslims argue with you about the hujjat of Allah, somebody who is the representative of Allah on this earth, you have one very beautiful and strong argument against them. What is that argument? He says in the month of Ramadan, everybody recites which surah more often? Of course, Surah Fatih and Surah Tawheed is there. But which is the surah most recited, and we are recommended and we are told to recite this at least 1,000 times in the month? Which is that surah? Surah Qadr. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin. Shaykh Sahib recites that in the namaz in Maghrib and Isha. It is one of the surahs that is very strongly recommended in this month. The fifth Imam, Imam al-Baqir, said that when you are talking to them, the others, those who do not believe that there is a hujjat of Allah, Those who do not believe there is a wali of Allah on this earth, reply to them, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. That the malaika and the ruh, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. That the malaika and the ruh are descending on this earth. If you look at this surah, and I'm not doing a tafsir, please. I'm just coming to one ayat and another ayat, and I will explain one thing. At the beginning of the surah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin. We have revealed it. E-D. Nazil kar chuke. Nazil take you to. Quran Majid. Inna anzalna. We have revealed it on the night of Qadr. Later in the surah, the root word is the same. Tanzil, Nazal, Anzalna, the root is the same. The verse is Tanazzalul Malaikatu. The difference between Inna Anzalna is past tense. And the difference between Tanazzalul is it's a proactive tense. It's an ongoing tense. Yani, there are every Laylatul Qadr, every year, until mankind finishes, until the day of Qiyamah reaches near, the Malaika will be descending. The Ruh will be descending. Imam Bakr is telling his Shia, his followers, to ask the other Muslims that they are descending. What for? Kis liye aa rahe hai? Senama te niche utre che. Tanazzalul malaikatu war-ruhu fiha bi-idhni rabbihim min kulli amr. They have taken all of the amr, the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to whom are they bringing the orders? To whom are they giving the information? તમારા ઘરે આવે છે કે મારા ઘરે આવે છે મલાઈકા ને રૂહ? આવે તો છે ઇન્શાલ્લાહ, वो इनका नहीं करते, लेकिन अहकाम लेकर, orders लेकर आते. Are they coming and telling me, Shafiq bhai, do this or do that? So you will see that the order of Allah, Rabbihim min kulli amr, the order, the permission of Allah. Where are they going? So you will have to believe that the only place they can go with the order of Allah, with the amr of Allah, is the recipient who is the ulul amr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The amr of Allah will be given to ulul amr. Imam al-Zaman, ajjallahu ta'ala dhuhurahu. In explaining the same issue of Amr, the people used to go to Amirul Mu'mineen and they say, Ya Ali, we have heard that you will come in our qabr. We have been told that you will come when we leave this dunya, when we die. Imam says, yes. He says, how can that be? Imam replies, what is maut? And the Quran Majid is replying that when the people used to ask Rasulullah, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ, they are asking about the ruh. Jawab de do isko, Kulir ruhu min amri rabbi. Reply to them, O Muhammad, that the ruh is the amr of Allah. Imam Ali is replying these people who are asking him if he will come into their qabr. He will help them in their qabr if they are mu'mineen, if they are followers of Ahlul Bayt, if they obeyed Allah. Imam Ali says, what is maut? What is maut? He replies, the removal of the ruh. What is the ruh? Imam asks him. The Quran says the ruh is the amr of Allah. Kulir ruhu min amri rabbi. It's the amr of Allah. Imam Ali says, wa ana ulil amr. I am the authority on that amr. One salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. So the malaika are coming down. Inshallah, I'm sure that this ayat will be discussed in detail next week. I'm certain, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. The ruh are coming down. They're bringing the orders of Allah. To whom are they going? The Imam says they are going to the hujjah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have been told to be prepared, make ourselves muntadhareen, make ourselves those who are proactively waiting for the Imam. And while I mentioned in the discussion, and I give the example of the farmer or the recipient, the one who's waiting for his paycheck at the end of the month, whatever, and I said that the end of the month will not be hastened by his dua. The rain will fall on its own time. Some of the mu'mineen felt that, well, basically then, zuhur will take place whenever Allah wants it to, so what's the point of us making dua? This was some of the discussion. The same answer, or a similar parallel answer, when the people went to the Prophet and said, we want to give you some ajr for the nabuwah, for the risalah that you've done. We want to give you some reward, we want to give you hadiyah, we want to pay you for guiding us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet replied to him, Kulla as'alukum alayhi ajran. I want no reward from you. But Ya Rasulullah, We know that you don't need anything. You were the one who went to Arsh Azim, and Allah Ta'ala, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the creator of everything. The creator asks you, Ya Habib, tell me what you want and I will give it to you. And even then you ask for the amn of the ummah. How can we give you something? But Ya Rasulullah, we want to show our akhlaq by offering you something. We want to show our akhlaq. And that's why we're offering you. You don't need anything, Ya Rasulullah. But if we want to do something, then the ayat says, Kulla as'alukum alayhi ajran. I don't want any reward for you. But if you want to show your akhlaq, then you follow illa al-muwaddata fil qurba. Then you follow my Ahlul Bayt alayhim wassalam. My qurba, those who are close to me, my near ones, obey them, follow them. Muwadda is a level higher than muhabba. Muwaddat is at a certain level which is very different than muhabbat. It did not say just love them. It did not say, the ayah did not say illa al-muhabbata lil qurbah. It says muwaddata fil qurbah. I know that on a number of occasions I have given the example of an engaged person, and unfortunately or fortunately, depending on whether you're being romantic or not, the issue and example comes up. And the poets of Rumi and Saadi have written quite a lot on ishq and muhabbat. And they are talking about these things, that what is it? And you say that if you love the other person, you love your fiancé or fiancé, then what happens when you're going on the street? Everything will remind you of her. And she will be remembered, whatever, and you see some nice clothing. Come on, any color gum se ke nahi game. Any style gum se ke nahi game. You're always thinking, what will she like? And she's always thinking, what will he like? And the Quran and Majid says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, from the signs of Allah, we have placed muwaddat before muwaddat and rahmah, not muhabbat. Allah Ta'ala is the creator of the hearts. Dil hi paida kaira chhe ne. And He knows the difference between just muhabbat and muwaddat. So no matter where you go, even if you see the water fountain, you will remember her. And even if she sees a car, ye to ena jamani gadi chhe na. And so every moment you are thinking that now it doesn't matter what I like, what my happiness is, whatever the other one likes, whatever the Habibi or Habibati likes, that is what matters. The same thing we are told as followers of the Ahlul Bayt. We resign our desires, we deprive ourselves of what we like, and we see what Ahle Muhammad will like. That is what mawaddat is. That is the meaning and the level of mawaddat. That doesn't matter what we are thinking, we're constantly thinking of him. That's why in today's discussion I had said, we will talk about whether we are really muntazireen of the Imam, how deeply we are thinking of the Imam, and how close we are with the Imam. We've been told to keep contact and keep in touch with the Imam. Have a relation every day. Pray for the safety of the Imam. We do this after the majlis every day. We are told even in the daytimes, remember the Imam, keep contact, keep the Imam's safety in our minds. Whether the Imam needs my dua or not is irrelevant. It becomes my akhlaq to pray for the Imam. He is my Mawla, he is your Mawla. It is our akhlaq to pray for the Imam, not that the Imam needs it. Allah Ta'ala is protecting him, we know that. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is protecting him. And so we tell the mu'mineen that yes, keep in touch with the Imam. When you have a problem, when you have a difficulty, write an arida to the Imam. I can tell you from Mimbar Rasul, sitting here, so many problems in my own community, in my own life, have been solved by the help of the wasila of writing an arida to Imam Sahibul Asr wal Akhir Zaman Ajjallah Ta'ala. You'll see it. But we live in an interesting era. Manso apne avine sawal kare che. They ask question. Sheikh, what do we do with the ariza once we've written it? We are told bury it, put it in some flowing water. Write the letter, it can be in any language. Ariza can be, even if you don't have a pen, don't have a pencil, you write with your finger, inshallah. And then you bury it or you put it in a flowing water. This is Maulana. You know something, there's a problem. What's the problem? I buried it in my front yard. I came the next day. The Imam didn't take it, it's still there. Hoshari che na. Well, postman, I put it in the river. 2 days later, it was still sitting there. It was stuck on the rock. Imam ne poincho nathi. Acha. Nathi poincho Imam ne. Nathi poincho ne Imam ne. Ayaj pairo che. Allahu Akbar. I think I have your attention now. After 20 minutes into the majlis. May Allah bless you all. May Allah reward you all. I didn't understand these things. I'm sure the Zakireen and the ulama 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, બહુ મુશ્કેલ થઈને જવાબ આપો કે બસ ઈમાન છે, માની લ્યો, અકીદા છે, માની લ્યો, પ્લીઝ અમને હેરાન નહીં કરો, તંગ નહીં કરો, માથું જ ખાવ છો અમારો, તમે બીજું કાંઈ કામ નથી. પણ મૌલાના જવાબ તો દો એનો. મને ખબર ન પડી. I had gone away for a majlis once out of Canada. And I realized that this letter, they need that letter for authorization for some work I needed. I was telling my hosts in Muharram, I said, well, શું કરું? હું મેલથી મોકલાવીશ. If I mail it, if I post it, then they'll get it after 2 weeks. That's why they call it snail mail, है ना? Instead of Gmail and Hotmail and Hazrat this mail and that mail, they call that snail mail. Post માં નાખી સ્ટેમ્પ લાગે 2 અઠવાડિયા લાગશે પહોંચતા. અમારે કેનેડા પોસ્ટની તો એવી હાલત થઈ ગઈ છે 2 અઠવાડિયા તો ખાલી ગામમાં જ લાગે છે પહોંચતા કાગળને. Oh, they told me, my host told me, he says, Sheikh, don't worry, come into my office. Bring the letter with you. I said, okay, thank you. Shukr, you have a quick way of getting it. I don't have money for this express courier and all that. There's too much money, but if I have to, I have to. No, come to the office. You just need this letter over back in Canada, huh? I said, yes. And we took the letter from me, and he puts it in this machine. And this machine starts eating my letter. Baba, khobro, શું કરું છું? મારું કાગળ ખાઈ જાય છે. Sheikh, just wait. All of a sudden, the bottom part of the letter comes out. And he smiles. He said, Maulana Sahib, તમારો letter પહોંચી ગયો છે. હા? લેટર તો યા છે. પણ પહોંચી ગયો છે. હઝરતે ફેક્સ મશીન. અજીબો ગરીબ થઈ ગયું છે. આ શું છે ફેક્સ મશીન? અહીંયાથી તમે મોકલાવો. વહાં પહોંચી ગયું છે. અસલ તમારી હાથમાં છે. નકલ વહાં પહોંચી ગયું છે. અને પછી જમાનો કેવો તરક્કી કરી દીધો. મારા પાસે કલર્ડ લેટર હતો. ઓલો તો બ્લેક એન્ડ વ્હાઇટમાં પહોંચી. યાદ થર્મલ ફેક્સ હતા. 2 દિવસ પછી બધા શબ્દ અલ્ફાઝ ઓલો ગાયબ થઈ જાય. એટલે કે ના, હવે તો તરક્કી થઈ ગયું છે કે તમે એક મશીનમાં નાખી એને સ્કેનર કે છે. 4 in 1, 3 in 1, 2 in 1. સ્કેનર બી છે, ફેક્સ બી છે, પ્રિન્ટર બી છે, બધું સાથે છે. You put it in the scanner and they will get the same color that your color is. The exact same letter that you have got here, they will receive in Canada, they will receive in Tokyo, they will receive in Australia. હવે મને સમજમાં આવ્યું કે હું અરીઝા મારા મૌલાને લખું છું. અરીઝાની અસલ અહીંયા જ પડી છે, પણ ઇમામને પૈગામ મળી જાય છે. દુનિયા આપણને આજ શીખવાડી દીધી છે. How the technology has gone, what level we have gone at. Because people ask us, મૌલાના જ્યારે ઇમામ આવશે, ઇમામ પાસે શું વેપન્સ હશે? આપણે કહે છે ઇમામ પાસે ઝુલ્ફિકાર હશે. ઓલો બિચારો ગભરાઈ ગયો. અચ્છા, શેખ સાહેબ, you know that this is atomic age, right? ઓલો પાસે ફાઇટર પ્લેન્સ છે, MiG છે, ટેન્ક્સ છે, એરપ્લેન છે, ન્યુક્લિયર બોમ્બ છે. મોલા પાસે ઝુલ્ફિકાર હશે. एक मजाक बन जाते हैं. लोग की समझ में नहीं आती है. लोग कहते हैं कि ये तो ये जमाना में रहते हैं, जुल्फिकार के साथ कैसे मौला लड़ेंगे, जिहाद करेंगे, पूरी दुनिया को कॉन्कर कर लेंगे. जवाब आसान है. If Allah Ta'ala gives the ring of Dawood and Sulaiman the power to control the malaika and the jinnat and the angels and the animals and the fish, and if the asa of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam can split and make 12 paths for Bani Israel to pass, if the hand of Hazrat Isa can cure the sick and bring the dead back to life, then can the Mawla of Isa not fight fighter planes with his Zulfikar? Can the Mawla of Musa not take over the world and fight these tanks and these atomic bombs with the Zulfikar of Ali ibn Abi Talib? Can the Mawla of Hazrat Nuh and Adam not be able to be victorious over the world with the Zulfikar that has come from the heavens for the hand of the A'immah, for the Hujjat of Allah? All of the power is there. All of these signs are there. As long as we have believed in the Imam, that is our responsibility. Today I mentioned that we will talk about how truly we believe in the Imam and how the Imam will accept us and deal with us depending on how our Iman and our Aqidah and our faith is. We say we believe in the Imam. We are muntazir of the Imam. We are praying for Zamana al-Dhuhur. We are praying to see the Dhuhur of the Imam. We want to see everything adlo insaf. And there will be difficulties afterwards. When the zuhur takes place, it's not that Imam aaj આવી જશે ને આવતીકાલે બધું સરખું થઈ જશે. There will be war, there will be famine, there will be difficulties, there will be Dajjal, there will be the Sufyani, there will be so many things. But how muntazir are we of the Imam? What is in our mind when we are thinking of Zamana-e-Zuhur? We know that everything will be nice, there will be no fights, no problems, no difficulties, everything will be okay. When the Imam Zuhur takes place, Jummah namaz will be there? હું જન્નતની વાત નથી કરતો, દુનિયામાં વાત કરું છું. ઓલી તકરીર તમે યાદ નહીં કરતા કે મોલાના કીધા કે in Jannat there's no namaz, no salah, no nothing. Yeah, you're right, inshallah. I'm talking about in the dunya, when Zuhur Imam takes place, will it be Jummah namaz or no? Thank you, Jazakallah. Will we have to attend Jummah namaz? मर्द की बात कर रहा हूँ, ख़वातीन के लिए और मसला है. So you have to attend. फजर नमाज कोई कज़ा कर से? कोई करी सकसे? तवज्जो दीजिए. આજે અહીંયાના રૂલ્સ, ટાન્ઝાનિયાના કાનૂન ના ગમે, મજા ના આવે. I don't like it. I pack up and I move to Uganda. I don't like Uganda, I pack up, I move to South Africa. I don't like it there, pack up, move to Australia. Don't like it there, if I'm a businessman, pack up, move to Europe, move to Canada, move to America, wherever I want to go. I have the authority. If I don't like one place, I can. What is in our mind when it comes to Dhuhr Imam? What are we imagining in our minds? And what level be there? And what is deep in our hearts when we are thinking about Zuhur Imam? When the Imam is returned and everything will be there. Because a lot of times what happens is we become, and I'm going to say this carefully, we try to become politically correct, we try to become polite. Something different might be in our hearts, something different might be outside. We are all praying, Al-Ajal, Al-Ajal, Ya Mawla, Ya Sahib al-Zaman. Isme shak nahi karta hoon. But what does it mean? What is it saying? Many times we have some difficulties in the West, spiritual difficulties. When there's a wedding, especially, we have people sometimes coming to us. I live in a city which is about an hour and a half from Toronto. Toronto is the big city. I'm in a city called Kitchener. Kitchener, Waterloo. Two cities are very similar in size. And sometimes, friends, close people, family, those who know us, they will come and invite us for weddings. Shadi mate dawat karse. Jelo kapri respect, ehtaram rakhe che. And we have sometimes people coming to us, and they'll bring the car. They'll drive an hour and a half. Shafiq bhai, assalamu alaikum. Hamari yahan shadi che August ma, September ma, October ma. Here's the card. They'll come specially to the Imambara, to my office, and they'll say, here's the card, here's an invitation. August ni 8 તારીખ માં છે, સેપ્ટેમ્બર માં છે, પણ અમને ખબર છે તમે બહુ બિઝી છો. એટલે ના હોય ને તો વાંધો નથી, દુઆ કરજો આ લોકો માટે. હા, ઓકે. અમને ખબર છે તમારો ટાઈમ ટેબલ, તમે દર 4-5 મહિના પછી ઈરાન જાઓ છો. We know you're out of town quite a bit, so don't worry if you can't make it. Huh? This is the date, but if you can come, but please, we understand. Okay? We understand. Now think for a moment. Even if on that day in August I'm free, I'm not doing anything, no majlis, no commitments, no istikharas, no talaqs, no nikahs, no that, I'm sitting there. Will I go to that wedding? Somebody comes and invites me like that. Okay, we understand you're busy, but it's okay. And you see, we certain, our eyes and ears become filters. અમે સમજી ગયા છે. આ લોકોને હદીસ શીખી પછી ઓલા લેટેસ્ટ બોલિવૂડ બી રાખવું છે, આ બી કરવું છે. કુરાને મજીદ પર હશે ત્યારે માથા ઉપર દુપટ્ટા પછેરી હશે, અને જ્યારે ખલાસ થઈ જશે તિલાવતે કુરાન ત્યારે દુપટ્ટા બે નીકળી જશે ને બધું બીજું બી નીકળી જાય છે. ઇફત, હયા, ઇજ્જત બધું નીકળી જાય છે. અમે સમજી ગયા છે, અમે બુધુ પાગલ બાફુ નથી, સમજી ગયા. We realize this. So we realize that they want to do their haram, and if a thorn like me is there, it will not be possible. And then we have another family coming to us. They will also drive. They will say, Sheikh Sahab, we are planning our son's wedding. You tell us when you are free. We will take your date down. Acha, okay. August is good. September, which day? This day. You tell us, Maulana. Whenever you are free, we'll keep the nikah on that day. You tell us your timetable. Now on that day, even if something is wrong, if anything comes up, even if a major conference, meeting, seminar, I'll say, no, I'm sorry, I have committed here. In both cases, they came and they drove, they came to see me, to invite me. लेकिन दोनों में ज़मीन आसमान का फ़र्क है. They came and invited me. So when they came, when they go, their friends ask him, "Kim Shafiq bhai nikah manaye wa? Hame to wahan sudi gaya tha na bolawa. Hame na office sudi gaya tha bolawa. But only me, them, and Allah will know keri tha bolaiwa." And the second one also invited me. But they put everything in my ikhtiyar, in my hands. You tell us when you are free. You will determine it. You see which one of them is a true invitation, which one of them is the other one, is the not so true invitation. The same way the Mu'mineen are making dua for Imam al-Zamana, Mola jaldi aiye, Allah jal. But there are some Mu'mineen in whose hearts, they still want to gamble, they still want to drink, they still want to take drugs, they still want to deal with namahram, they still want to do their haramat, they still want to make their salatul fajr qaza, they don't want to wear hijab, they don't want to do the wajibats. In their hearts, they are saying, Mola, tame 1200 varas thi gaya ji, aaywana thi, mane to yati watawa jo, pachi tame aavjo. Let me pass this dunya. Then you come, Mola, you've already been in ghaibat for 1250 years. Habija 50 varas watai jai to wando nathi ne. In the heart. But jare malaika puchse, ye log kaise? Nahi, Allah jal ya Mola ya sahibu zaman daroj mein padta tha. Assalamu alaikum ya Mola ya sahibu zaman Allah jal bin fitnat zaman bade hame daroj padta tha. But we know in our hearts what will be zamana-e-dhuhur. So we have to ask ourselves, are we true muntazir of the Imam? And ek gujre te makeche ke Mola aave to saru, na aave to vadare saru. Because I'm not ready yet. Allahu Akbar. I'm not ready yet. But that other invitation, when you are in your heart feeling that when Mola comes and there will be the zamana-e-dhuhur, I will change myself for the sake of Islam, for the sake of the Imam's pleasure. I will not change the Imam's ahkam for my sake. I will not manipulate the Sharia and Islam for my sake. Whatever Mola wants me to do, I will say, Labbaik ya Mola ya sahibul zaman. That is true intazar. That is when we become true muntazirin of the Imam. Because when the zuhur takes place, if I'm used to doing haram and I don't want to leave it, if I decide to go from here to Canada, will Imam Zamana's hukumat be in Canada? If I plan on going to Australia, will the Imam's hukumat be in Australia? You will say yes. Even we can say that if I decide to pack up and go to the moon, maybe I don't want to do my wajibat, I can still drink my alcohol in the moon. Even the Imam's hukumat will be on the moon as well, because he is the hujjat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is Rabbul Alameen. This is the hujjat of Alameen as well. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Dunya mein ek mulk mein thi bija mulk jai sakis. In this world I can go from one country to another if I don't like the laws of one country. When Imam returns, the laws in the whole world will be exactly the same. Where will I run then? Then where will I run? So the point now is to get ourselves ready for the Imam. Be willing to make sure that Islam is a part and parcel of our entire lives. Not that we try to manipulate the Sharia, as you have heard in different nights. That how we have tried to make deals with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We try to manipulate the Sharia. We try to make justification for our sins. When Imam comes, the sinners will be sent to their places right away. There will be no tolerance. The Imam's authority will be all-encompassing. Right now, we need 2 witnesses for qatl, 4 witnesses for zina. We need this, we need that. All the dalil, the dalail. When Imam's hukumat is there will be no need for dalail. There will be no need for evidences. The Imam will know who did what, and the Imam will punish them accordingly. And when the zuhur takes place, the road signs, those will be wajib to obey and follow as well. If the speed limit is 50 kilometers per hour, and you go 60, not only are you violating the law, you're also committing a haram. If the Imam says obey the stop sign and you don't because it's 2 in the morning, the Imam's order, the ahkam will be the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Violating that will be a violation of the Sharia. To know the masail, we have been told in the riwayah, anybody who is 20 and does not know their full masail, the Imam may even reach the point where they will be wajibul qatl. The Imam's authority, the Imam's Sharia will be an all-encompassing Sharia. Sometimes examples and parallels have been given. If you remember the story of Hazrat Musa and Hazrat Khidr. When Khidr's Sharia was Shariat-e-Batini, that means you did not need an evidences. He just did whatever he had to. He made the hole in the boat. He killed the boy. He fixed the wall. You remember the story. I don't have time to go into that. But you see how he acted on a Sharia differently. We are told in some riwayah that Imam Zamana's Sharia will be like this. The Imam will already know who has done what. And why shouldn't he know? How can he not know? He is the hujjat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the point now is for us to get ready and us to follow Islam from now and make sure we follow the Sharia. One of the greatest balas that we have seen in the Western world now, recently, has been this bala of people not considering sins as sins. People will commit guna not even realizing or not even thinking that this is a major guna. If you look at what's been infiltrating in the communities and the societies, the homosexual and gay lobbies have come through. We have seen people, adultery has become commonplace. You can have any relationship with anybody you want. No worry about God they being there or not there. God is only in the church and the synagogues and the temples and in the mosques. God is not here in your workplace and everywhere else. They have made us desensitized to sin. They have made this. Most countries in the Western world have actually removed the sin of adultery from their books of law. They've removed it. It's no longer a sin. If you want to engage in any relationship with anybody, married or unmarried, this, that, single, what does it matter? But if you want to wear hijab, no. That we won't let you. You want to wear burqa? No. Amanaiche. You want to pray during the work? No. This is not allowed. We are a secular society. And what has happened is, our community has become desensitized. What has been a gunai kabira, for example, we now don't even consider it as, that's his business. And the community is now following that trend. How marriage is allowed, with whom marriage is allowed. You see that, you read the laws. I'm sure you're getting all the news here. I don't have to go into great detail. Neither do I have the time nor the ability right now, and I don't want to bore you with these things. But what's happening in our community is we're becoming desensitized to guna. We don't consider it guna anymore. And that is how the society has capitalized on the Muslim iman, on the Muslims. I was told by an alim that there was a discussion in one of the religious centers of the non-Muslims. And they were looking at the budget that they were spending money for their missionary work and propagation work in Muslim countries, especially in Pakistan. And they were planning on reducing their budget. But one of the priests came forward, he says, no, don't reduce the budget. He says, yeah, but we've not converted anybody. We've converted very, very few people from Muslim to this and that, Muslim to something else. He says, yes, we are not converting the people, but we have done something better than converting them. What have you done? He says, we have taken the Islam away from Muslims. We have taken the Islam away from the Muslims. That is a better job. They will not convert. Yaqub will not become Jacob. Yahya will not become and make his name announced as John. He says, but that Islam, that Aqidah, that feeling, that love of Allah, the muhabbat of right, the enmity to wrong, he says, we'll take that out of their hearts and look around. Believe me, in the Western world, we have had some horrendous things happen. In one of our jamaats, just in the last few years, one of our community jamaats, we had a woman elected president and vice president, another lady. And please, I am not my sisters, my daughters. I have nothing against our sisters, our ladies taking positions of power. I have no problems. I do not doubt your abilities, your integrity, your honesty. I do not doubt your abilities. I don't doubt that Islam does not allow. There is an equality, there is a certain degree of justice that Islam has always propagated in us. In fact, our salams is on your intellectual ability and your maturity. And that is why Allah made you mature, baligha, 6 years before us. We are still immature at the age of 9. You are already baligha. But what I am saying is that when this happened, it was not the fact that it was a lady who was elected one of our Jamaat's president. It was the fact that it was a hijabi who is now representing the Islamic community outside. And not only hijabi, not only without hijab, those with whom I myself had discussions who did not believe in the hijab, who claimed to be followers of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul Aliyun Walillah in our own community. We become desensitized, it doesn't matter. Hijab, to purani baat hai. Today in my discussion I mentioned about how, this desensitization, it is not something that it's something we need to think about and to reflect upon. And it will creep in us so much that when we start failing to realize right and wrong, we have crumbled our very foundation. And when that foundation crumbles and the Imam returns and the Imam reestablishes the authentic Islam, this is one of the reasons why the Shia will be opposing him. Because we don't want that, we didn't like that. And nobody stood up to say, there was no man ready to take this place. There was no hijabi, muhajjiba ready to take this job. It's not a gender issue. It's a matter of fulfilling the responsibilities of haqq and refraining away from batil. Fulfilling the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you are in the public service and refraining from the haram. At least the zahiri haram is refrained. Only Allah knows what is in the hearts. But at least when you come out openly and you're representing Islam to a Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist and pagan society, at least they can say, yes, you are a representative of Islam or the Shia community or the Khoja or the Ja'fari community. One salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. That is why one of the signs before the Hud is what? People will commit sins. They'll commit it openly. One group will commit it openly and acknowledge that this is a sin, but we will still do it. One group will say that, no, I'm not committing a sin. Show me the dalil. Tomorrow night, inshallah, and I think some of you might have become a bit perhaps upset or irritated when I keep telling you I'll mention tomorrow, because I was actually intending to mention a few things tonight. We had Dua Kumail, and I do not wish to make it late. So that's why the only reason I'm doing it till tomorrow, not because I want you to come back tomorrow night. That is your marzi, that is your prerogative, whether you want to come tomorrow and listen to me or not. But it's only because of the time factor, and I want to, inshallah, stay within the context that tomorrow we'll talk about how basic issues and two things that have kept the Shia community alive for this 1200 years since Ghaiba till now, what those two things are, and how the enemies of Islam have put their whole focus and their whole attack on these two things. One is marja'iyat, one is on khums. And how there has been so much power against these two. There was so much effort spent to remove these two things from the hearts and the love of the believers, because these were the two things that we have stood on, and the Jafri community throughout Ghaibat al-Kubra has survived on. That is what we have survived on. And you see how our A'immah have reminded us, and constantly reminded us, that this is the haqq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the haqq of Rasulullah. This is the haqq of Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha. You are not, when you belittle any of these financial obligations, it is not that you're cheating yourself or you're cheating anybody else. You have actually taken the haqq of Janab Siddiqa, Janab Zahra. The demand of Fadak was not because she wanted worldly property. Hazrat Sayyidah is above that. The Prophet of Islam had offered her anything fis samawati wal ard that she would have wanted. She asked for the ability to do shafa'at of the ummah. She could have had anything. Her point of going was to remind and tell and inform those who did not know that this symbolizes the financial independence of not only the Shias, but especially Al Fatima. And those who took the property of Fadak realized that and knew that if they are independent, they will never need to come bowing before our doorstep. And you see that independence amongst the A'immah. You see the holy Imams fulfilling that independence, because that power and that strength was given by the A'immah. And especially on the plains of Karbala, the Imam with his shahadat showed the world, and his statement showed the world, that it is better to die a death of izzat, of dignity, than to live a life of zillat, a life of indignified life. And that is why on the plains of Karbala Mu'alla, the Imam, when he was laying down the lives of all of his companions, all of his family members, एक वो वक्त आते हैं जब हज़रत अली अकबर मैदान में जाते हैं, मैदान में जब जाते हैं और बरशी सीने में लगकर हज़रत अली अकबर मैदान में गिरते हैं, मैदान में गिर के बाबा को पुकारते हैं, बाबा को सलाम करके बुलाया नहीं कि बाबा आइए, हज़रत अली अकबर ने कहा अलैका मिन्नी सलाम। जब कोई आपको अलैका मिन्नी सलाम कहे तो इसका मतलब मतलब ये है कि जवाब देना वाजिब नहीं है, जब कोई आपको सलाम करे तो जवाब देना वाजिब है। हजरत अली अकबर को पता है कि शायद बाबा के पास मेरी शहादत या मेरे जख्म होने के बाद इतनी भी ताकत नहीं होगी कि वो अलैका सलाम कह सके। अज़ादारान इमाम, जब मेरे मौला हजरत अली अकबर के पास पहुंचते हैं, क्या देखे सीने में नेज़ा के बर्ची है, बर्ची का पल है, निकालने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। अली अकबर सीने पे हाथ रखकर बाबा को इशारतन मना करते हैं। मेरे मौला हुसैन क्या करते हैं, एक मर्तबा नजफ की तरफ रो करके बाबा को पुकारते हैं, बाबा अली दुनिया के मुश्किल खुशाओ, आज आपके हुसैन पर ये मुश्किल आई है, जरा मदद के लिए आ जाओ। अज़ादार इमाम मुअर्रिख लिखते हैं कि नजफ से जवाब आया, ए बेटा हुसैन, मैं अली जैसा साबिर, अली जैसा बहादुर, अली जैसा शुजात बर्दाश्त कर सकते हैं, खैबर का दाल उखाड़ सकते हैं, लेकिन अली अकबर के सीने से पर्ची का फल अली भी नहीं निकाल सकते।